You are sitting alone. Your phone is on the charger across the room, and yet you could swear you felt it buzz in your pocket. The misunderstanding costs you real time. Every time you reach for a phone that did not signal, you break your focus. You feed a loop of expectation, distraction, and disappointment. The phantom buzz is not a glitch. It is a sign that your brain has learned to anticipate a vibration so precisely that it now generates the sensation from nothing. The cost is not just a few wasted seconds. It is the slow erosion of your attention, trained to obey a signal that does not exist. This experience is so common that nearly 9 out of 10 phone users report it. You feel a buzz, you check nothing. Then it happens again. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do, predict the world based on past patterns. But here, the pattern is your own behavior. You check your phone dozens of times a day. Each time you feel a vibration or hear a ring. Your brain learns that certain contexts, your pocket, your hand, the feel of fabric, predict a buzz. Over time, the prediction becomes so strong that any ambiguous tactile cue triggers it. The real question is, what is the genuine cost of this misfire? The mechanism is predictive coding. Your brain does not passively receive sensory information. It constantly generates hypotheses about what is happening and then tests them against incoming data. When your leg brushes against your pants, your brain already has a strong hypothesis. Buzz from phone. If that hypothesis matches the faint sensation, you perceive a buzz. You do not feel the fabric, you feel the phone. The mismatch happens when you look and see no phone. Then your brain updates its prior belief. But the next time your leg touches fabric, that prior is still high. One study found that phantom vibrations correlate directly with how often you check your phone. The more you check, the more often you feel them. You are training your own illusion. Not everyone experiences phantom vibrations. Older adults who use phones less often report them rarely. People who keep their phone in a bag rather than a pocket also have lower rates. The key variable is the frequency of expectation. Your brain builds a statistical model of how often a buzz occurs in a given context. If you check your phone every 5 minutes, your model assigns a high probability to a buzz in those moments. Any ambiguous touch triggers the illusion, but there is a limit. The illusion fades when you stop reinforcing it. In a laboratory study, participants who went 3 days without checking their phones reported a sharp drop in phantom vibrations. The brain can unlearn the expectation. A specific study illustrates this pattern clearly. In 2012, researchers surveyed medical residents who carried pagers and phones all day. 90% reported feeling phantom vibrations. The residents who checked their devices most often, those on call with the highest expectations, reported the most frequent false alarms. One resident described feeling a buzz during a quiet moment in the operating room, even though the phone was locked in a locker. The study confirmed that the phantom sensation is not random. It scales with the frequency of real alerts. The more your environment trains you to expect a signal, the more your brain manufactures one from static. This is not a quirk of modern technology. It is a basic property of how perception works. Expectation determines experience. The real-life implications go beyond annoyance. Each phantom vibration is a false alarm that hijacks your attention. Attention is not infinite. Every time you interrupt a task to check your phone, you pay a switching cost. Researchers estimate it takes over 20 minutes to fully refocus after an interruption. A phantom buzz does not demand a full refocus, but it still breaks the flow. Over a day, these micro-interruptions accumulate. You lose not just time, but depth. The constant checking trains your brain to expect disruption, so you never settle into sustained thinking. The phantom buzz is both symptom and cause of this fragmented state. Consider one concrete everyday situation, a conversation with a friend. You feel a buzz in your pocket. You glance at your phone. It was nothing. But your friend notices the glance. They interpret it as disinterest. You then have to explain that you thought you felt a buzz. They nod, but the social cost has already been paid. That micro-rejection adds up. Over months, people who check phantom buzzes are perceived as less attentive, less present. The buzz undermines relationships not because it is real, but because the act of checking signals where your priorities are. Your brain created a signal that forced a choice. You chose to follow it. That choice has a social price. That is why framing it as a glitch feels wrong. A glitch implies a random error. This is a learned response, highly predictable. Your brain is doing exactly what it should, maximizing its ability to detect a meaningful signal in a noisy environment. The problem is that the environment itself, your phone usage, creates an inflated prior. Your brain becomes hypervigilant for something that rarely matters. The cost is not the false alarm itself, but the learned habit of constant vigilance. You are never fully present because your perceptual system is always listening for a buzz. There is a limit to how easily this can be undone. Some people report that phantom vibrations persist even after months of reduced phone checking. Why? Because the prior may be reinforced by anxiety. The expectation of a buzz is not just a statistical model. It is tied to a social reward, a message from someone you care about, a notification about something important. The brain treats the buzz as a cue for a potential reward. That reward prediction increases the prior further. For heavy users, the phantom buzz may be linked to dopamine release in anticipation of a notification. The illusion becomes a habit loop. Changing the expectation requires changing the reward structure, not just the tactile cues. Can you retrain your brain? Yes, but not by willpower alone. The method is to change the prediction, not the sensation. If you put your phone in a different pocket, the tactile cue changes. Your brain's learned model expects a buzz from the left pocket. When you move the phone to the right, the left pocket's ambiguous touches no longer match the prediction. Phantom vibrations drop. The same effect works if you change the vibration pattern to something more distinct, or if you turn off vibrations entirely for a period. The brain adapts to the new statistical reality. Within days, the phantom buzz frequency declines. Another simple trick: use a smartwatch on the opposite wrist. The tactile location shifts. The illusion follows the expectation. There is a deeper point here. Phantom vibrations are a microcosm of how all perception works. Every sensation you experience is a controlled hallucination, a best guess from noisy data. You never directly see the world. You see your brain's model of the world. The buzz you feel is not from the phone. It is from your brain's prior belief that a phone is there. Most of the time, that belief is correct. When it is wrong, you call it an illusion. But the same mechanism underlies every correct perception. The cost of the phantom buzz is that it reveals the fragility of that mechanism. One misaligned prior, and reality wobbles. So the stakes of the misunderstanding are clear. You treat the phantom buzz as a minor annoyance, a cognitive tick. But it is a signal that your environment, your phone, your habits has warped your perceptual expectations. The concrete decision you get wrong is this: you choose to check your phone based on a sensation that your own brain fabricated. You trust that sensation because it feels real. It is real to you, but it is not a signal from the outside. It is a signal from your own history. Once you recognize that, you can decide whether to honor it. The payoff is not eliminating the buzz entirely. That is not possible, nor necessary. The payoff is understanding that every phantom vibration is a choice point. You can reach for the phone, or you can wait and see if the feeling repeats. You can feel the buzz and know it is your brain doing its job, but also know that the job is based on outdated priors. Over time, the simple act of not checking weakens the expectation. The buzz becomes less frequent. But it never disappears completely, because your brain is always betting. One final thought: the phantom buzz is not a bug in your brain. It is a feature of a system that constantly predicts, constantly tests, constantly updates. The price of that system is occasional false alarms. But the alternative, a brain that never predicted, never jumped ahead, would leave you blind to everything that is actually coming. So the next time you feel a buzz that is not there, stop for a second. That sensation is your brain betting on the world and losing. That loss is not a failure. It is the cost of being prepared for what matters.